what's up, everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to get hit with the truth. So today, doing the breakdown video for Louise Ortiz and Charles Martin. They collide on January 1st of 2022, New Year's Day special pay-per-view card for Fox pay-per-view, and it's an all heavyweight card, so it's actually not going to be a bad card itself. Excuse me, but Ortiz and Martin heading into this showdown. It really is a fight that, a crossroads fight that both guys need to win in order to get back in title contention. You got Louise Ortiz, former two-time world title challenger, taking on Charles Martin, a former champion for a minute there. He held on to the IBF title for a couple months before getting destroyed by Anthony Joshua a few years ago. And now he's coming off of a nice win against Gerald Washington, and he's trying to throw himself back into world title contention with a win over Ortiz would do that for Charles Martin. For Ortiz, he's trying, desperately to get anybody to fight him, and and he needs to just keep winning to try to get back in title contention. He's 41 now, so he really needs to do the best he can to make one more run to get back into world title contention, to get somebody to fight him. So this is a big fight for both guys. The winner is going to enjoy the spoils of war. They really will. It'll help the winner out immensely to get a win here. So we're gonna see what happens. So with my breakdown videos, as usual, it's I ask the questions on each side. I start with the favorite, and then I move to the underdog. I will first start off with what kind of fight do they need to fight to win. Can they win by knockout? Can they win by decision? Then what does it mean for them if they win this fight? What does it mean for them if they lose this fight? And then I move on, ask the same questions of the underdog, and then I ask a question for both. Is it better for boxing if the favorite or the underdog wins? And finally, my prediction on the fight. So let's kick it off with the favorite heading into this one, the former two-time world title challenger, Louise Ortiz. He's coming into this fight, he scored a win earlier this year. He's trying to get back in the mix. He hadn't fought since a knockout loss to Deontay Wilder in their rematch in November of 2019, when Wilder dropped him in the 7th round of a fight that he was winning again, as he was the first time they fought. His only 2 losses have been to Deontay Wilder. So Ortiz has defeated everybody he stepped in the ring with except for Wilder, and he was beating Wilder at both moments that the knockouts occurred, in the first fight and the second fight. So Ortiz, a very good boxer, puncher. He can box. He's a southpaw. He's 6'4". He can box, and he's got a ton of power. They call him the real King Kong, is his nickname. I love Louise Ortiz. I still think he's the boogeyman of the heavyweight division. Nobody wants to fight him, even at 41 years old. And it's kind of funny because you really would build a strong resume off of beating Louise Ortiz. And that's why I give Deontay Wilder so much credit, because he knocked Ortiz out twice. But Ortiz is a tough guy to deal with. He really is. And heading into this one, he knows that he needs to win this fight. He's very hungry, and I think he's coming in looking for blood. And Charles Martin can provide that for him. But what kind of fight? What kind of game plan? What does he need to do to win this fight? For Ortiz, he needs to not just go head hunting early. Make sure he doesn't get caught with something and hurt, because he's an older fighter. You get caught by a heavyweight, it doesn't matter who the heavyweight is. It seems like nowadays you can be hurt. So Ortiz needs to be smart. He needs to use his jab right out the gate. Start with the jab. Start with that right hook. Set up that big left hand and see if you can, but don't go for broke just yet. But he definitely needs to be aggressive at moments in that first round, the first 2 rounds, and get his punches off. Try to land a big shot, to hurt Charles Martin, to see if he can. Because remember, Anthony Joshua got Charles Martin out of there in 2 rounds. So Ortiz is going to be looking to do something similar like that, but he does not need to just go head hunting and get caught with a big shot. So he needs to be smart, work his way in, box, and also at moments unload the big guns and see how he can hurt him. If he does that, he could get Charles Martin out of there possibly. He could, definitely be ahead on points if he uses that strategy right there. Definitely does not need to let Charles Martin get close to him. And he also doesn't need to let Charles Martin dictate the fight from the outside. So he definitely needs to work from a solid range, use that jab down the pipe, and use the hook to set up the big left hand. That's what he needs to do to win this fight. Can Luis Ortiz win by knockout? I absolutely think he can knock out Charles Martin, and I think it could be a one-punch type knockout early, or he could break him down and stop him later on in the fight. So either way, I absolutely believe he can win this fight by knockout. Can Luis Ortiz win a decision? If it goes to a decision, then yeah. Ortiz is the better boxer in my opinion, I think he can pile up the points, and if Charles Martin is going to be stubborn and not go away, he can definitely win this fight by a decision for sure. What does it mean for Luis Ortiz if he wins this fight? Well, it's big because it keeps him moving forward. It really does. It keeps him moving forward towards another title shot. Charles Martin is a top 20 type heavyweight, top 15, top 20 type heavyweight, so a win here would be nice for him. He's not used to fighting guys in the top 15, top 20. He's usually got to settle for top 30 to top 50 heavyweights, guys that don't belong in the ring with him because nobody wants to fight him. Well, Charles Martin is showing some balls and stepping up and fighting them, so this is a good name to get on his resume as he moves forward. It's good to knock out a former champion, even if the guy was just a paper champion. It's good to get that on his resume to try to continue to move forward and get into bigger fights, like the Andy Ruiz fight that has been rumored for over a year now to be, to happen. So, he definitely needs to, a win would be big to keep moving forward. What does a loss mean to Luis Ortiz, to Charles Martin? It's going to devastate him. It's going to drop him out of the top 10 if he loses to a guy like Charles Martin. It will. And I think everybody will look at Ortiz as not having it anymore, not being a contender and anything to worry about anymore. He goes from being a contender to a gatekeeper with a loss. And at his age, a loss, a bad loss, a knockout loss, that could lead to retirement at his age. So, yeah, it definitely would be bad for Ortiz, devastating to his career if he lost this fight. So now we switch over to the former champion, Charles Martin. Martin rolling in, he's confident. He got a big win against Gerald Washington last year. Broke down Washington, stopped him in the 6th round. Now, that's not too much, but it's enough of a victory because, Gerald Washington's lost to a few guys, but this is a guy who used to be a football player at USC, came into boxing late, and he actually gave Deontay Wilder a run for his money before Wilder stopped him in the 5th or 6th round of their fight a few years ago. So, for Martin to come in and it was on a big card. It was on the Fury Wilder 2 card in 2020. For him to come in and completely dominate, Gerald Washington, break him down and stop him was impressive. So now he just has to capitalize on that, and he's taking his shot. He wants to get back into contention to try to prove that he's more than just a paper champion. He got knocked out against Anthony Joshua a few years ago, and he wants to prove that's not who he really is. So a win over Luis Ortiz would definitely get him back in contention and make him a threat moving forward, but he's got to get the win first. So what does he need to do to win this fight? Well, Martin needs to not put himself in harm's way too much. He needs to try to control the fight from the outside. He's a big heavyweight too, and he can sit there, and if he can effectively use his jab and gain the speed advantage because he's younger, then he might be able to outwork and outbox Luis Ortiz possibly. I'm not saying he's going to be able to do it for sure, but he might be able to get it done with the jab and working from the outside and just popping in and landing shots. And if he does that, he might be able to set up a big shot that could hurt Luis Ortiz. So you know, I don't know if he can do it, but if he can, that's the way, that's the key to victory right there for Charles Martin, is to try to take Ortiz, who's not used to going into the late rounds, try to wear him down, get him into the deep waters, and see if he can drown him and walk away with a knockout or a decision late in the fight. Now, can Charles Martin win by knockout? I think if he were to wear down Luis Ortiz, yeah, and I also think if Ortiz gets careless in there and gets caught with a big shot, it might be enough to hurt Luis Ortiz. But especially if Martin gets him into the late rounds and can really wear out Ortiz, who's not used to going to late round fights, you know, most of the time. If he can get him deep, he might be able to stop him. Can Charles Martin win a decision? It depends on if he can outbox Luis Ortiz by controlling the distance, using the jab, and just being quicker to the punch. You know, it's really going to be a game of timing as Martin tries to turn it into a chess match. You know, even working on the inside, popping in, popping out, it's got to be his game plan. He's got to have that kind of game plan. Maybe make Ortiz come to him, jab Ortiz, as every time Ortiz tries to set up, jab him and see what he can do. But he might be able to pull off a decision win if he can do that. Now, what does it mean for Charles Martin if he wins this fight? It means everything. It's going to be his career best win. It's going to put him in the top 10 for sure, and going to make him a contender going forward and possibly set him up with a title shot at some point. So it means everything for Charles Martin if he wins this fight. What does it mean if Charles Martin loses this fight? Well, that might be it. The wheels might completely come off. That would probably be it on him being anything serious of a contender. After that, because he's an older fighter too, I want to say he's around 34, 35 years old. He don't have a lot of time left in his career. And another loss, especially now, especially a bad one, puts him, you know, on the shelf, in my opinion. It really takes him out of any kind of serious contention, and I don't think he ever really gets back into contention after that. Okay, so is it better for boxing if Ortiz wins or if Charles Martin wins? And to me, that's a simple answer. It's better for boxing if Luis Ortiz wins, because boxing needs guys that are entertaining, that can punch like hell, especially in the heavyweight division, and that people are afraid to fight. And that's Luis Ortiz to a T. So they definitely need that. Charles Martin, I don't think anybody would believe, even if he were to upset Ortiz, I think people would look at that as Ortiz being too past his prime, too old, and Martin just got, you know, a win against an older fighter that really didn't have it anymore. I don't think people would take him serious going forward towards a world title. I just don't see it. Or an eliminator. But Luis Ortiz, if he's victorious, they're definitely going to take him serious, and people are going to be excited, whether Ortiz is the A side or the B side of things. And at some point, somebody's going to have to fight him. So it's better for boxing if Luis Ortiz wins. And now, my prediction of this fight. Who wins between Luis Ortiz and Charles Martin in their heavyweight showdown? I'm picking Luis Ortiz. I honestly think Ortiz, if it's our what we've grown accustomed to seeing out of Luis Ortiz, if it's him, the same old King Kong, he's going to win this fight by knockout. And to be honest, I don't think it's going to go very long. I think he's going to win this fight within 3 or 4 rounds by knockout. It could go a couple more rounds than that, but I'd be surprised if it makes it into the second half of the fight. And I just think Ortiz, talent-wise, in terms of boxing ability and power, he just got the edge. But Charles Martin, I'm not counting him out, because if he can draw Ortiz into moving a lot and popping in and popping out and maybe land something big early that stuns Ortiz, he might be able to pull off the upset. I don't think he's going to do it, but you never know. So that's it. That's my breakdown video for Luis Ortiz and Charles Martin. They collide on Saturday, January 1st of 2022 in a big heavyweight showdown. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I enjoy doing the breakdown videos. That's it. True boxing. You've been hit with the truth.